Well, how old should pets live to? Anybody have a guess? Don't read the slide. Anybody want to guess? You know, our animals are dying between 9 and 15 years of age right now. This is Cream Puff. She's in the World Guinness Book of Record 2010. She lived to be 38 years and 3 days. She's not the Enigma. There was another cat in the household that lived to be 34. She was owned by a plumber in Texas. And when asked, what do you think the secret to the longevity was? Number one, he added fresh food into her diet. And number two, he spent 4 hours a day giving them love and attention. This is Maggie. She's from Australia, clocks in at 30 years. Now, Maggie lived on a dairy farm. So Maggie had high intensity exercise every day of her life. She had raw food integrated into her diet because she ate placentas and raw milk. And she did intermittent fasting on her own. So despite the fact that we have a pill for every ill and a diet for every disease, we're seeing cancer rates higher than we have ever seen in the history of pet kind. We have dogs getting cancer, 1 out of 1.65. My friends, that is almost 100% of the dogs that we're seeing are getting cancer. This is age irrelevant. And cats, they say 1 out of 3. I think that's highly underdiagnosed because a lot of people don't bring their cats in. Then when we add obesity, autoimmune disease, arthritis, allergies, and gastrointestinal disease, it's almost 100%. In fact, I was trying to do a study with Quicksilver Scientific, and one of our groups was supposed to be healthy, never had anything wrong. I found in 2 years, 1 animal that fit that bill. And what's worse is their life expectancy, despite all of this advanced medicine that we have, has gone down statistically by 7 years. Since 20 years ago. And we're not doing it just to our pets and to ourselves, we're doing it to our wildlife and to the earth. There was a World Wildlife Fund study that was done with 2 major universities. This was a retrospective study, 44 years, started in 1970 and went to 2014. And what they found that there was a 58% reduction of all vertebrate species on the planet. Bird populations were down by 35%, unless they lived near freshwater, and then they were down by 78%. When a species reaches 72% reduction, they are at risk for extinction. And we talked about yesterday, I think the synchronicity of our talks, nobody talked about what they were going to put in their slides, and yet here it is. We were talking about bees yesterday and the importance of bees to our survival. 100 crops provide 90% of the world food. 71% of them are pollinated by bees. And then when we look in North America, honeybees are pollinating 95 different kinds of fruits, including almonds, avocados, cranberries, apples, and soy. So if we kill Mother Earth, which is really the big picture, you know, we're talking about our health and our pet health, but really the big picture is Mother Earth's health. Okay, so sometimes even if I stand in the middle of the room, no one acknowledges me. And it's that elephant in the room that we just don't want to face. And for me, 20 plus years into my practice, I realized I was masking symptoms. I wasn't treating disease. I was really good at it, but I was still masking symptoms, but I hadn't learned how to treat the biology and treat the root cause of disease. So that was a transformation. Well, you know, they say that if the only tool you have in your toolbox is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. Well, as medicine became more complex, there was a lot more than nails out there, and I needed a bigger toolkit. So my traditional toolkit, which all veterinarians have, look like that. But in my integrative toolkit, I added thermography. I added cancer markers, inflammatory markers, looking for vitamin D, magnesium, B12, and other markers. Heavy metals. No one had looked at heavy metals to see what's the impact on animals, and yet we know it's a big deal in people. I do live blood analysis. I do bioenergetic scanning, which is so phenomenal to pick up diseases that the Western medicine can't find. And I learned how to really use my intuition. In Western medicine, we have steroids, NSAIDs, and we have antibiotics probably for another 15 years, and they will not be available anymore because of the rate of antibiotic resistance. And then we have surgery, chemo, and radiation. There you go. That's all you have. But in my world, we have photobiomodulation, and these are all the things I have in my office, by the way. So photobiomodulation, ozone, lymphatic therapy, acupuncture, pulse electromagnetic frequencies, therapeutic lasers, surgical lasers, chiropractic work. I use molecular hydrogen both as an oral medication and also as a medicinal. And we do light therapy using a Solara gem. I have a salt booth. We do hyperbaric oxygen, photoactivators, PRP, prolozone, infrared saunas, herbs, oils, homotoxicology, energy medicine, clear emotions, and more. I am not willing to stop my toolkit. It keeps expanding every year. Hundreds of thousands of dollars into the millions I spend on an annual basis because I am not willing to look at somebody and say, I can't help you. Always coming back to food, water, and essential nutrients. You know, we can get really advanced in our technology, but we can't forget the basics. You got to eat a species appropriate diet. You have to drink clean, structured water. And then you have to make sure that the body has all those elements that it needs to do its job. And detoxification is where I really landed in my wheelhouse, understanding that we have 6 organs of elimination. We need to support them, clear them in the animals as well as the people. So KISS principle, do it with me. Keep it simple.
Silly.
Keep it simple. What's the one everybody uses? Stupid. But we don't use stupid because stupid is not sustainable. What I do is I say sustainable is successful, and that's what nature does. So everything I do is modeled after nature. I learned about biomimicry a long time ago. Has anybody been exposed to biomimicry? Raise your hand. There's over half the group. So this is the new biology where scientists are studying the strategies that are used by plants and animals in order to be able to not just survive in the world, but to thrive and make sure that there's future generations to come. Animals use biomimicry, man uses biotechnology. We use everything on the periodic chart, even the stuff that is toxic. So the old paradigm, you name it, you blame it, you cut it, you nuke it, you burn it, and you poison it. That's what we were taught in medical school. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Right? This is the new paradigm shift. It's about the biology. And when we can learn how to work within the biology, treating it and understanding the mechanisms and helping to support the biology, then we call it miraculous, but it's really just the innate wisdom being able to do its job. The mitochondria we now recognize in our world as being so significant in the whole entire health production, but in the allopathic world, I don't even think they remember what it is. So here's my 6 steps to health and healing, and as I go through my case presentations, I want you to keep in mind that every single step is employed on every single case. From a brand new puppy or kitten that comes in that I want to keep them healthy, these 6 principles are taught to the clients, and to those that we're helping to shift out of dis-ease, we're going to use these 6 principles. So step number 1, you have to stop doing the things that are causing the problem. We have to take ownership to that. So are we feeding a species appropriate diet? Are we having clean, structured water? 90% of pet owners feed their animals tap water. And most tap water has over 85,000 synthetic chemicals identified. And if they drink it in plastic, it's another 24,000 on top of that, including glyphosate and heavy metals. We have to look at the toxins that are in the environment. What are you cleaning with? What is your air quality products? What are you putting on the skin? Because animals may not be wearing clothes, but they're laying on the bed, they're laying on you. So are they using xenoestrogens? Do they have a lot of EMF in the house? Whose cat loves to lay on the computer keyboard, right? So they're drawn, Ryan's, so they're drawn to EMF. So many people have the animal beds right underneath the router, and they don't think about it. So we want to make sure that we have eliminated as many sources of pollution as we possibly can. Number 2, have we supplied all the essential nutrients that they need to do their job? They're just like us. And vitamin D is one of the most interesting ones of all, because vitamin D for you and I, we can synthesize it from the sun or from our diet. Herbivores can only synthesize it from the sun, but a carnivore can only synthesize vitamin D from their protein source. So if that protein source was not out in the sun like a grass-fed animal, then they're going to be vitamin D deficient. And studies done at the university level have now shown that 85% of the kibble diets are vitamin D deficient. That's huge. Then we have healing the gut, just like with us. I won't belabor that. We have the microbiome, we have leaky gut. All of these things apply to animals as much as it does to us. Number 4 is detoxification of the 6 organs of elimination. I'm a little biased. I think that the lymphatic and the liver are extra important because they do so many important functions for us. So I pay particular attention to them, but we do detoxify all 6 organs of elimination. And then mitochondrial biogenesis, we're looking at how can we make more and healthier mitochondria so we have more energy. And then number 6 for me is clearing trapped emotions. So all that work that Maya did with us last night, that beautiful ceremony, that's what I do because these animals entrain to the energies that we put out. I think they are really our fur baby, soul babies that come to help us function in this very dense 5th dimension. So they say, here's my shoulder, here's my back. And when we're sad, who comes over to be petted? And you feel better because they're taking some of that emotional strain off of you. They mirror, they share, they reflect the things that we need to know. Even the diseases that they have is never a coincidence in that owner's life. So we want to look at trapped emotions, particularly the ants that live in our brain, which are the automatic negative thoughts. And we all have them. For me, I think they are wondrous because they allow us to see the contrast from where we are to where we need to be.